My name's Caroline. I'm a teacher and I've been teaching for a year and a half. So teachers' pay in the past few years, it hasn't seen any real rise. It has been frozen with the rest of the public sector. It's also been put under renewed scrutiny. In the past, teachers would go up a pay scale progressively within the experience that they'd had in a career. Now there is a requirement to have an appraisal process, and what that has meant is that actually some schools, especially when their budget is under serious pressure, they will make it very difficult for teachers to progress. It also has put an effect on who people hire as well. So some schools may choose to hire less experienced staff or offer a lower pay grade than someone would usually expect in order to save money, and that would usually, through courtesy, not have been something that was done in the past. So pay, it seems like there's lots of different ways now to stop teachers getting money they deserve. I'm very lucky. I think this school is very fair, the way they deal with pay. We have an appraisal process, but it's very achievable and it's supportive. So you're supported to make your way through your appraisal process. Whereas there will be some schools where you're given extra responsibilities but not given the pay that is supposed to be accompanied with that extra responsibility. And that's just yet another way that schools cut their budgets, and teachers are put under more pressure because they're working for more hours and just not getting remunerated for it at all. The thing about teaching is it doesn't seem to matter where you work huge hours. So I'm quite lucky. I'm young, I don't have a family, I work in a school that's quite supportive. We know that workload is high, so we come up with ways to address that. However, I still work 50 to 55 hours a week, which is still insane. And if you go to other schools, there will be people who are working for 60, 65 hours plus, according to the government's workload survey. And there are those who have to simply leave teaching because of the pressure that puts upon their lives, especially if you have a family, if you have other responsibilities. It is something that I've noticed since I trained. There are plenty of those who I trained with on my PGCE who are already thinking of leaving teaching because of the pressure it does put upon your personal life, upon the strain it puts on you physically. It's really hard to work that much. The pressure that the government puts on primary schools to deliver on English and maths at the end of year 6 means that the whole primary school experience is based around those things. The tests themselves are incredibly stressful for the children, and it's stressful for the teachers as well. And you do not necessarily need to have that kind of testing regime that results in you teaching to the test to deliver a high quality education. We need to look at the way that we assess, not just in primary but in secondary, and re-evaluate what an education actually should be. Because what we have now is a very prescriptive, very particular way of teaching English and maths that is taking over every single part of what we do in primary school. And the pressure that results and data puts on teachers, and the analysis of data for organisations like Ofsted, needs to be reduced, because that is one of the key things that bring up our workload. Not teaching children, not planning for children, but going over progress data levels assessment, how we're going to get children to that percentage that we need at the end of year 6.